One of these days I'll figure out how to start that countdown exactly at 30. I have no idea. I just have to like click it and then click go live really fast and hope for the
one
best.
day I'll figure it out. I believe in you.
I really have not put that much effort into it because I barely use StreamYards, but
It's almost like you've also been busy, so it hasn't been like
it's not top of my priority list, to say the least. But you know, there are certain things that StreamYards is actually pretty decent for, and you know that I'm probably actually might end up getting a subscription at some point because it is a lot more convenient than just trying to do the OBS and slobs and things of that nature. I can just throw it up, and I think it's kind of easier for this type of discussion where I want the audience to weigh in a lot of this stuff. I can, highlight their comments and things of that nature. The only thing I wish I could is allow to have people in.
The highlighting comments is the best thing that StreamYards adds. That's that is some top tier. I really like that.
It's yeah, and I'm not quite sure why there's not more of an ability to do that on YouTube intrinsically, or at least through Streamlabs or something like that as a widget or something. Maybe there is. I don't know.
Everybody hates Streamlabs now anyway, so
I'm gonna try Gamecaster when I get a chance. But anyways, they're not there for that.
I'm still setting it up for Gamecaster because I'm not using it quite yet because I'm prioritizing the charity outreach stuff I'm doing, and I don't want Gamecaster messing it up as I'm just kind of learning how it works.
Oh, and speaking of which, so as you guys may know, this month, for whatever reason, for her own, for her own reasons, Cheshire on her own channel is having a very wholesome, very non-aggressive, very non-dramatic shows and things of that streams for her.
Still kind of dramatic. Like some of the outreach programs are intense and have like a lot of, there's just like a lot going on with them, and a lot of like, some of it's really dramatic. Like the one for today, it's gonna be heavy. So if you are faint of heart,
yeah, and that's not okay. So let me kind of rephrase it. Then it's more wholesome though. It's like you're not going for salaciousness. You're not going to attack people personally, kind of stuff. Yeah, not that you do anyways. Yeah, people take that out of context.
Focusing very much on charity and outreach for the month of December over on my channel.
Yeah, and so when I say that her attacking people, I mean that what they say, not them personally. So the trolls out there that are definitely going to be listening to this won't clip that out of context. But on this channel, she can say whatever she wants, obviously. So she won't necessarily be that wholesome, I hope, going further on this stream, because we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to do a synopsis, a too long didn't read version before we get into some of this stuff. And then Cheshire can kind of throw in her input on it. But as you guys know, last night, Erin, EKCPeopleSuck, and ImFcknRakin had put forth like 120 gigabytes worth of data. Now, a lot of it I've already known about. I've had access to Dropboxes. I mean, there's wasn't a lot in that stream that I wasn't data aware of. There were some. I didn't know. I had no idea about Natalie's so many different accounts that she made. Those are all new. I had never seen any of those.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. So that was new to me. But as far as like I knew there was an investigation going on. I even told people, look, there's an FBI investigation. They're like, there was an investigation. I'm like, yeah, actually, I know there is. And I have talked to Saltz and about that very thing, and I will be showing my message to him, not his to me, because I don't share emails. People know that, but I'm perfectly fine with sharing my communications. And so they released, just a ton of stuff that a lot of us had kind of, just been in the know a little bit, but confirmed what we already believed, what we already knew to be true, that Natalie had made all these fake accounts, that she has done all these criminal things, that she's behind all the death threats. She's behind all the, well, I should say not all of them, but most of the false reports. But she's the one that's been the ringleader on all this stuff. Now, do I think there have been influences on her and that have used her as much as she has used them? Yes, and we'll get into that. Matter of fact, that's kind of the point of this particular stream, about what is the responsibility of those content creators who have done that. But it was a lot of information that was released, and even if you didn't get a chance to even look at any of it, just even some of it, just a cursory glance will demonstrate that there have been dishonest people in the YouTube community that have taken advantage of the situation for their own machinations and their own maliciousness to try to defame people and try to character assassinate people. This is unequivocal to me. This is actually part of the fact that I am suing one of them. I wish I can sue more, but unfortunately it's tough suing. I'm already in 2 lawsuits with people for these very things, for being dishonest. And so I kind of want to ask the community as a whole, what is the community's responsibility? What is YouTube's responsibility? Because it's not a matter of opinion at this point. It's a matter of demonstrable fact that there has been misinformation out there put out by Natalie willfully that people have used to slander people, such as myself, such as Tina, such as Erin, such as Dottie, such as Cheshire, such as Little Miss Noble. Although, yeah, I don't think Little Miss Noble was completely, her hands are completely clean. Not, but I think her intent was well-meaning. I never talked to Little Miss Noble prior to the TRO, and so I did not have any idea her involvement. But do I think she did anything illegal? Absolutely not. Do I think that she should be vilified? Absolutely not. Do I think she was manipulated? Yep, absolutely. Just like many other people were. The difference was I never saw, from what I've seen in any tweet or anything else, Little Miss Noble actively using Nat's misinformation to harm people, which I have seen from other content creators. So that to me is a very distinct difference. So hopefully all that will get put out more. But as far as I'm concerned, the people that are responsible for this is not just Natalie, but the people that have supported her narrative to try to harm people. Jesh?
There's a lot to unpack, and it is very difficult to unpack things when there's a bunch of idiots throwing packing peanuts everywhere. So it's kind of hard to distinguish and figure out exactly what has gone on. And there's going to be, I think, a degree of that there are going to be things we're not going to know, and we're not going to find out, and we're not going to be able to know just because it's been too bogged down by people just throwing around baseless accusations.
Yeah, and that's why I go by the hard facts, right? That's why I want a copy of the reports. Right. That's why I want to see the evidence from the FBI and things of that nature. Because at this point, I try not to take anything at face value. There have been a little bit of I'm not even going to say the word dishonesty, but I'm going to say people looking out for themselves more than anybody else. And so I question the bias, right? And so I want to see hard evidence of things. And of course, I do trust that data. I think that data was legit. I mean, in fact, I know it was because I've had access to these drop boxes, and I've had been sent things.
Well, now that you've said that you've had access to these drop boxes, it's like, oh my God! But how many of these documents did Steve manipulate?
Right? No, I didn't get the 121, but there was a lot of things that I have seen, which is interrelated. Does that make sense? That had some of the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so because I didn't see that 120 dot box because, again, I never saw any of those screen names, and I still haven't had access to it yet. Somebody said there was a link. I think Erin said that she was going to put a link in her video description. I did not see one, so I don't know. But
I can check right now and see if there's one in there.
Last time I looked, there wasn't. So.
I was actually just rewatching that today.
Yeah, that was a great stream, and I apologize for not putting it in the video description. I will after the fact, but if you guys have not seen EKC's People's video last night, please go check it out. It's well worth a watch.
Here's a link in the live chat also.
So this is a thread. We're going to start with the some of the stuff that we can objectively at least look at. Now, whether how you evaluate it or not is objective, but this is an objective fact that this actually is Salsa's email, or not his email, his Twitter account, and that he had put this out today. And this is what I think a lot of people have been waiting for, confirmation from Salsa, because while I do think that Salsa really does, put his own interests first, I can't blame him to some degree. I think he has been harmed. I even said there was an FBI investigation because it involved him and his kids. How could there not be an investigation? He is an actual lawyer, and he had death threats, and his family was harassed. There's no question about that whatsoever. So, yeah, I knew there was an investigation, and Salsa had asked me about the investigation. So I was like, yeah, there actually is one. Because people were like, oh, Katie says there's an FBI investigation. Now, do I think she was involved with it, the investigation? No, not really. Do I think she had any input on it? No. Do I think that she helped in any way? Nope. Do I think she muddied the waters? Yep. But those are my personal opinions. And I really, all I could do is lay out the evidence that she had used Natalie's misinformation to harm people, which, again, I am planning to do in my defamation suit against her for that very reason. And then you have this honest agents like UNIRock still trying to cover for that and still trying to manipulate, which we'll get into. So
there's so much. There's just so much. And it's kind of interesting because that's a little bit how things work, right? When there's an investigation, when people are actually looking into what's gone on, they don't put crap out that they haven't confirmed or they haven't finished investigating yet.
Absolutely.
You finish your investigation first, and then all the info drops. So this is basically what you would expect to see. So anybody who was like talking about this or saying they knew what was going on and were giving information as it went was unreliable from the get-go.
Intellectual iconoclasm. By the way, how you been, my friend? It's been a while. Wow, that is like that question is kind of like, can you briefly explain to me Einstein's field tensor equations?
She's a lady who came out of nowhere supporting KJ, who quote unquote infiltrated communities, made up screenshots, lied about everybody, and accused them of a bunch of crimes, sometimes on behalf of Katie, sometimes on behalf of herself, depending on what you're looking at.
That's a pretty good too long didn't read. Now explain tensor equations.
No, but if you want to actually know anything about who Nat is as a person,
yeah, that's
your guess is as good as mine.
That's the biggest part. I have no idea where this person came from. All I know is that the background that from I gather is that for some reason she decided, and nobody seems to know why. I don't think anybody has an idea why she decided to involve herself in the Dottie Westbrook lawsuit, and I guess Salsa had her do an affidavit relating to that case. Now, personally, I thought it was, and I was wrong on this. I was on the assumption, and I don't know if this was misremembering or what, but I thought Natalie was involved to establish that there had been loss to Halo, that she was one of the people to say that, yeah, I've listened to so many things and I can testify that, I no longer buy Halo products. I that's what I thought it was under. Now, I don't remember the exact details because I just wasn't interested that much in the Dottie case because there was just so much. I don't want to curse on this video because I got everything I'm getting is demonetized lately. So.
I thought it was more to do with the connection between Katie and Swanson.
That could be too. Yeah. Okay. Well, that could be. Yeah.
That's what I thought it was about. I'm not 100% sure either because there was another person that Saltz had gotten contact with who has been gone off the internet for quite some time, who was the argument for Dottie's case being in Washington.
Intellectual says, Steve McCrae, is this a student from a lawyer from NYC? By the way, I thought about that exact same thing, by the way. I recognize the relationship there as well. But we're not going to get into that. But yes, that is
for another time, perhaps.
For another time. All right, so let's actually read what Salsa has says here. Do you want me to or you to? By the way, someone had asked, my voice sounds different. Have I lost weight? My friend Kano is how it's pronounced. Yes, I have, but I don't think it has changed my voice. But I have lost 25 pounds. Thank you very much. Over 25 pounds. So, all right. So you can read it in your voice. People rather listen to you than me, anyways. It's the only reason I have you as a co-host. Just.
All right. Yeah.
You can read with her 62 IQ.
Manya is correct. It was Lori Ann was the other.
Oh, it was Lori Ann. Yeah. That's okay. Okay.
Natalie Kennett has now admitted to creating CP, perjury, obstructing justice by fabricating conversations with me and other evidence to give to others to impugn my reputation, filing false crime reports, making death threats, cyber stalking, and harassing me and my family.
And I don't think anybody's going to disagree with any of that so far. I mean, I think we've all witnessed that. I think that has actually been, completely true. Like I said, he had asked me about some of this stuff and get my input on it. And yeah, I completely believe everything in here that this was going on. Now, I'm not gonna show the individual stuff. It's not important. But yeah, so she has admitted to it. And it's one of those things. Well, can we trust what she admits to and things of that nature? Well, no, not if she just threw it out there. But I'm understanding she has admitted this to the police, that she and to the FBI, and that they are pressing criminal charges. They are working with law enforcement in the UK to have her criminally charged for multiple different things, including, from what I understand, attempted murder. So yeah. Could she claim, a mental defense and things of that nature? Yeah, that could be possibly her defense. But the thing is that whatever happens with her, whether she gets indicted and goes away to prison or a mental institution, The key takeaway that I believe is that she needs to be prohibited from ever using the internet again. That to me is, I think,
or at least like not social media. Like
I say none, just none. Like a criminal hacker.
I guess I don't know if it would go that far to be like, oh, you can't use the internet at all. I'd be curious to see how that would play out and how you would do that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, and those who may not know, Salsa was one of the lawyers for Dottie Westbrook.
Yeah.
He also was, and it was funny because he was, in the lawsuit suing Katie Joy. Dottie was suing Katie Joy Paulson, just like I'm suing Katie Joy Paulson, just like Todd Chrisley is suing Katie Joy Paulson. And from what I understand, there are still two more lawsuits that are being discussed to sue her. Now, when that's going to happen, I cannot say. I would suspect sometime at the beginning of the year, but I just inquired about that again recently and was told they are still in the progress. So
yeah, the thing is, it's hard to, if we've learned anything from non-sequitur, it is hard to tell how long things are going to take in terms of law.
Yes, but like I said, from what I understand, they are still being discussed. I cannot make any promises whether they're going to go through or not, but they are being discussed. As far as something like the lines of a class action lawsuit, I have heard absolutely nothing other than name gathering at this point. That's it. Name gathering. I've spoken with various attorneys. My name is out there for those attorneys. They definitely, have said that if there's a class action lawsuit, my name would be on there, but whether that's going to happen or not, I do not know. So those who've asked me on it, I can't give you any information.
It takes a lot of time to coordinate and draw up something like that, especially in regards to things that are so complicated and difficult. Like these are complicated situations because people have been purposefully making them difficult and complicated to sort through.
Absolutely. Rez Instance, who has been a huge supporter for quite some while for both our channels, and I cannot thank him enough. He says, Katie, you need to be sued in the ground. That's what we're trying to do. Unfortunately, I don't have infinite amount of resources, and Rez has been, by the way, extremely generous, to say the least. So I do appreciate that. Also, Monty has been generous, to say the least, and many other people. So we're trying. I mean, it's at least I'm trying to do something. I am trying to make a difference. I am speaking for all the other victims as well, and everybody that has been harmed by this. I mean, my case, I believe, is the strongest case out there against her, without question.
Yeah, it is. So far.
Yeah, but even if there's more cases, I kind of know what they're about, and they're strong.
That last tweet that she made, putting all of the blame for everything onto Nat and accidentally admonishing you.
That's a good point.
She's completely, your case is beyond a shadow of a doubt the strongest case because she undermined herself.
Yeah, and I have absolutely no doubt about that. She has no case on anybody. The BS lawsuit that she has against me is just nonsense. I will go over that eventually, but yeah, it has been demonstrated without question that every narrative that both UNIRock and Katie Joy have said about anybody regards to any of this has been a lie, absolute lie, and it's been demonstrated that they knew it was a lie because she didn't have the information that she said she had when she went on Kay Baxter's stream.
Well,
and the TRO against me, and other people.
And Truth Sleuth makes a really good point. She says, I agree, especially since after she accused you of being involved in this shit. Yeah, there's like a level of jumping the shark that Katie does. She just, and like you take something that, okay, maybe Steve made KJ feel a little bit uncomfortable 2 years ago. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. That's a thing that is a believable situation. She may have felt that way about.
Which didn't happen, but whatever.
Which didn't happen, but you know what? People could buy that and be like, you know what? Okay,
yeah,
sure.
It's not something that's implausible. I recognize that.
It's not. Steve was making screenshots and making alt accounts that were likened and involved with the creation of CP, as well as like a coordinated threat and death threat harassment campaign on some
levels,
person who you didn't know who they were.
Magnitudes of difference, of orders of difference, right? I mean,
like, how do you get from point A to point B is what baffles me about a lot of the situations you in particular get into. It's just like person you have a mild disagreement with.
I swear to God, right? I still have, I'm not even joking. I still have people from 5 years ago that I blocked or that I removed from the GDC that stalk me to this day. It's just weird.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so weird. But yeah, I mean, in her lawsuit against me, she did not just allege, you know, like, oh, I believe kind of thing that Steve did this or that, or whatever. She outright said in her countersuit to me that Steve fabricated screenshots in 2019.
And that she confirmed that it was your real account.
Well, these are two different things. Just make this this clarification. No, in her lawsuit against me, she had said,
the lawsuit. Okay.
Yeah. In her lawsuit against me, she has said that in 2019, I think it was specifically December 2019, if I'm honest. Now, was it December? No, I think she said December, but it had to be earlier than that. But so I don't remember the month. But 2019, she said that I explicitly, she said that I fabricated screenshots. I could tell you right now that never happened. And so that is something that is defamation per se, because she's accusing me of fabricating screenshots that it had that I have evidence that I have shown that did not happen, and that I did do my due diligence. And I still believe that they're real. I absolutely still believe they're real. But people have said, well, you can prove it. I go, well, I can't prove it beyond all doubt, but I can give a reasonable justification to accept that they are real. If you don't, that's fine as well. But in a court of law, all I need to do, if that's her argument, two things. One, all I have to do is show that I did my due diligence and that I do believe that they're real. So there's no malice there whatsoever. And I can show that they were sent to me. I can show who sent them to me. I can show the discussion that we had about them in multiple different groups trying to verify them, and how long it took to try to verify them. We just unfortunately ran into a dead end. And the person involved with those had said, hey, Steve, you know, basically you've done enough. I appreciate all you've done. I have come to this kind of conclusion, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And I respected the wishes of that person. And of course, you all know who that person is.
And that person has gone out to tweet out and shout out and retweet your current GoFundMe.
Yeah, and
if that doesn't tell you enough, I don't know what's going to tell you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, people know it's Flossie, and who I've talked with a very long time, who I adore. She is one of the purest people I've ever met on YouTube. I mean, she is just a pure individual. And
what about me? I'm pure evil.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where's the line are we going on that?
Hey, yeah. I'm just teasing.
But yeah, I mean,
Flossie is wonderful.
Flossie is wonderful.
I've never seen her be anything but that.
She's never said a bad word about anybody, I think, kind of thing. I mean, maybe she's, you know, like anybody else, but I mean, she's never been malicious. And so, yeah, we've always gone along. So when people say that, you know, I had anything with their family, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But of course, you know, she did accuse me of fabricating things that weren't true. And that, to me, from a journalist especially, is, you know, is salacious. Yes, from Katie, you know, accusing me of making these screenshots. That to me is salacious. That to me is defamational. And I think that the court would agree. My lawyer sure the hell did. So, all right, let's continue to the next tweet here. Moving on. Go ahead.
We will be seeking to have Miss Kennett prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. To that extent, we will be asking that the authorities bring attempted murder charges. Swatting is reckless misconduct that is intended to place another at risk of death.
Yeah, now this actually is kind of new to me. This I really wasn't in the know about. So this is like mind-boggling that she was apparently sending emails to local sheriff's departments trying to implicate, I guess, Salsa of wanting to murder people or something. I mean, like I said, when I read this, I was like, I've never seen this before. Has anybody else?
Do you want to click on the screenshot so we can get a little bit?
Yeah.
Here?
Is that legible?
From Saltz to contact LAPD online at Gmail. I wish to hand myself in. I have shot my daughter dead in my home today over a minor dispute that got out of hand. We struggled and the gun went off. I have murdered my own daughter. Michael Jeffrey Saltz, please come quickly. There is blood everywhere. I hit my wife too.
I mean, Jesus F Christ. I couldn't even imagine the level of psychopathy for someone to do this to somebody else. I it's like, holy shit. And this wasn't that long ago. This was October 1st.
October 1st, 2021.
Probably one of the reasons why I didn't know anything about it, because most of my information is a little bit older than that for the most part. But yeah, this blew my freaking mind.
Apparently he blew his daughter's mind. I'm sorry.
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, it was only October.
So I mean, yeah.
Who lets me come to things? Why am I here?
Remember, she's only not wholesome on her own channel. Here, well, she's Cheshire. So I mean, yeah, he should be livid about this. He wants justice. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all.
Yeah, good, because that's the kind of thing. This is what it has to do with swatting, right? Swatting is when you falsely call the police and get them to send armed individuals. Individuals is the wrong term.
Please, yeah.
People that send armed forces. I don't know, whatever. Send armed people to your house with the like thinking that you have a weapon, thinking that you are dangerous, so that they will come into your house because if it's the SWAT team, they don't really have to knock or need to have a warrant in that case because the SWAT team works differently than the police does, and thus they kind of come in guns a-blazing, so people get killed. Swatting is like an old tactic. It's been around online for a very, very long time, and it is a horrific.
Yeah, and you had pointed out
there's videos out there of people getting swatted while they were live.
Yeah, and you had pointed out that you were really kind of surprised that I've never been swatted, and I'm not going to question that. I think that you're right. I was surprised too. Now, nobody knows where I'm at now. Nobody has my current address. Nobody.
I am absolutely surprised that Steve, until Steve had moved, he had yet to have been swatted, and I have no idea why he had not been.
Yeah, and that sounds
Maybe he did try. I don't know.
That sounds so bizarre to even think about, right? That people will go to that extent. But yeah, but like I said, I'm being much more cautious now. I have no choice, and as I said, not a single person has where I'm at now. Nobody. So
yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I mean, there are people that obviously, in my area, but I mean, as far as the internet, yeah, I've not had it on any document or anything like that because I am concerned about those things, especially, recently more than ever. So, yeah,
well, it's because like all we've got is stuff like this escalating, right? It's like this is another level up, right? And you can look around at who was supporting what during what time and who was saying who, right? Because weren't you accused of sending one to somebody to shoot somebody else by a certain someone?
Yeah, I was accused of either doing it myself. I don't know how that works, but doing it myself or sending somebody to go shoot up Kyle's house by UNIRock. By UNIRock. Let me make that very clear. UNIRock had made those allegations with no evidence whatsoever. I mean, these are the types of narratives that people run.
There wasn't even evidence that Kyle's house got shot up and nobody knew what house he was talking about because that's what was when he was trying to say he lived in different places.
Correct. Yeah. And so this is another one says, I'm going to shoot my wife dead. And by the way, that email up above, it's obviously a fraudulent email. I do have Michael's actual email that he has corresponded me with it that I know his actual email. But yeah, I mean, I'm still processing what it would have been like to have this kind of message sent by somebody. And do I think there's people out there other than Nat that are capable of this? Yes, I do. And they are around our community.
Let's not forget that you've had people make Twitter accounts and say this kind of stuff about your own daughter. That's happened. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. I have people create fake accounts pretending to be me. Impersonation, multiple. I've reported to YouTube and to Twitter, multiple. I've had people
that say like some pretty horrendous things. Like they're not just making a fake account and pretending to be Steve and being like kind of normal. It's pretending to be Steve and then saying racist things or doing some kind of apologetics or making like random accusations or making claims or like admissions to things that he had done.
Yep, exactly.
Same kind of thing.
And fake accounts pretending to be my daughter as well. So they have done, pretty horrific
fake accounts pretending to be your daughter, accusing you of sexual crimes.
Yep. That I had to get my daughter's mom involved with, who denounced all those things because I happen to get along with her mom exceptionally well.
Tina also made a good point and said, I had to contact my local police department to let them know who and why it could happen to me. Yeah, if you are in danger or think you're in danger of being swatted, one of the best things you can do is just get in touch with your local authorities so that way they know who you are and
Absolutely.
why. Right, so that way they have the heads up, because if they don't have the heads up, they have nothing else to go on.
And that had crossed my mind, and I will tell you straight out, Tina was a lot smarter than me on that, and I really wish that I would have told my when I was living somewhere else. But I also knew that they were selling the house, and I didn't take it as priority, and I should have. I really should have. So I applaud Tina for taking that step that I didn't take. Because I honestly should have, and I don't think anybody would have faulted me for that. Because again, there are people making.
I should currently be doing that, and I have not because I'm stupid.
No, does people know where you're at?
Well, so some of them claim.
I know Canada is a big place, but yeah, you're somewhere north of me. Oops, I just doxed her. Shit, I'm sorry.
Well.
But there's something else I wanted to say. But I also had people. I had ProLib actually contact the FBI and Medi-Cal to try to report me for absolutely nothing because I asked him about it.
He admitted fraudulently so.
Yeah, and I do have.
He knew it was fraud.
I do have indication that he was telling the truth, but it went nowhere. Now the FBI never contacted me. I'm not going to that. The FBI, I've never talked to the FBI straight up, but I do have other indications to support what he said was to be true. But when I asked him about it, his response was, well, Kyle said so. I was like, so you told the FBI and Medi-Cal it was based upon Kyle. Now, there was a report that he had sent to Medi-Cal. I've seen the actual report that he sent, and it was all just, Kyle's nonsense. And it just didn't go anywhere because it was all bullshit. But yeah, they're willing to do that kind of stuff. And so I do denounce people going in real life. Now people will talk about what's going on between, I'm not going to get into it right here, but between Ren and Roadhog. But look, I, across the board, say don't go real life, period. There's been nobody that I've ever called, no police agency, no nothing on anybody. I've never reported anybody for CPS. I've never reported anybody for tax evasion. I've never reported anybody for anything. At most, I've reported a video because they're abusing dogs. That's about extent that I'll go, because there was a video that was abusing dogs, and I was like, oh, hell no. But I don't even know if that's not even considered going in real life. But
there are specific emergency and extreme situations where going real life is appropriate. A good example of this was Daddy of Five. For anybody who doesn't know what Daddy of Five was, it was a YouTube channel that existed where a mother and the father and their 5 children would play pranks on each other, and they would record. It was it kind of had the vibe of a reality TV show kind of thing. 3 of the kids were from that mom, and 2 of the kids were step family. Or that was their stepmother. And there was what was deemed by court as child abuse going on in those videos. And people had the reason that what happened did happen, and it ended up going to a court where a judge was able to make a ruling, was because people saw those videos and people called and reported them because there was abuse happening in those videos. Mm-hmm. And that they ended up being removed from YouTube. The 2 kids that were not hers were taken away and given back to their mother, who had been trying to fight to get custody for them for quite some time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there are extreme situations where, you know what, it is absolutely reasonable and it's absolutely viable to call authorities. There's a difference between calling authorities and spamming authorities just because you don't like somebody.
Right. There's a difference between doing the right thing by reporting somebody for actual concern. And of course, we know for a fact people will misuse that system. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. And so if somebody had asked if ProLib's still around, yeah, he goes on Ethan Plays, but he has never once apologized for his behavior. He
said that he would give me an apology over on Little Red's channel. He then proceeded to ignore me on Twitter when I was like, hey, you want to set up a time? Because he offered for me to come onto his show. And I said, yeah, sure. And he ran away as soon as I went into that live stream where he said he wanted to apologize to me. And then he deleted his entire account for like a couple of, he deleted his whole YouTube channel for like a good number of months before he came back under a different name.
Well, yeah, and by the way, let's put it out there that ProLib is a huge fan of Kyle Curtis and UNIRock. I mean, what does that tell you? So
Watch
by the way,
not video.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a couple of videos you might want to go check out. One, go check out that Gordy Knott video on Cheshire's channel. Again, I'll try to put in the video description after I'm done. And the other one, go check out is the video I did on the Great Debate community on one of my cesspool videos, which I haven't done in a while. But I did a cesspool video on called the cesspool on ProLib on the Great Debate community channel. Go check that out if you really want to see ProLib in action, just being a complete shitlord. If Cheshire can go find that, or somebody, one of my mods, and post it, that'd be great.
I'm currently grabbing it.
Thanks.
Oh, it's like right there. It's the first one that comes up when you
yeah, there you go. Just do a search on YouTube for ProLib Steve McRae or the cesspool, and you'll find it. And I highly recommend watching it. I don't do much on the Great Debate community channel as much as I should, and I apologize for that. Hopefully I will do more on it, because I use that channel to kind of do more of the I don't know.
The first one I linked is my Gordy and Not video. The second one I linked there is the ProLib one. There
you go. All right. So on this one says shots fired. Emergency, please come quickly to. And then the address. Brian Landry has shot my husband and he's holding me and my son hostage. Please come quickly. PSA EKC is tagged because she rang crying and says she has a gun to her daughter's head, but I don't know her address. Now that was referring to EKPeopleSuck, which is Erin, as people know. This was, I think, relating to Katie Joy. Because Katie Joy had talked about, there, reports of holding my gun to her head and this and this. This is what she was referring to. Now, I actually have a copy of a report to Harapan County, which, by the way, they're not in Harapan County. They're in Wright County. Why? Because I'm suing her. I know what county she's in. That's not doxing, by the way. People know she's in Wright County. But it's not Harapan. And I don't know why that Natalie got those confused. But I do have a report from Harapan County relating to these types of things. Now, it didn't particularly say this. There are other.
That's her attempting to SWAT or get some kind of police action against Erin.
Yes, and the one I have would probably have been something SWAT related. It had to do with a gun and his son. I'm not going to go into the gory details because unlike Katie Joy, I do not like discussing graphic details of things involving children. So I'm not going to tell you what was in that report, but I could definitely say it was very similar to this. So I know there was actual reports made that was completely true. And so I never questioned Katie on those things, right? People are like, oh, there's nobody filing those reports. You never heard me go, oh, that report. Now I did question whether, they came out for what the reasons why, and whether she manipulated those things, right? And kind of conflated them all together for her own usages. That's completely different. But I absolutely knew that, yes, there were false reports about her.
There's a degree of like trying to figure out when there's so much stuff going on and getting things confused or different or making earnest mistakes, because everything is so confusing and so bogged down with random crap. And then there's another thing when you're mixing up names and throwing additional names in there on purpose.
Yeah, she was trying to tie me to some of this stuff.
Like, right? There was one point I watched a video of Nat's and I was very, very confused because she kept saying Katie, and in one sense she meant Katie Joy, and in another sense she meant Little Miss Noble, and it kept going back and forth, so it was very, very unclear of which one she was talking about.
Yeah, from what I understand, she generally calls Katie Little Miss Noble Kate, if I'm not mistaken.
I couldn't tell, at least in the video I was watching.
Or vice versa. I think she tries to differentiate, but it is very confusing. Yeah. But yeah, I
don't think she tries to differentiate on purpose.
No. Okay. Sure. Yeah, you're right.
My opinion.
You're right. You're right. I think she probably wants them to be conflated for ambiguity's sake. But she tried to tie me these things. She did on the K Baxter stream. She tried to tie Tina to these things. She tried to tie Erin to these things. And I definitely think that UNIRock ran with these narratives for his own agenda. Because there was no facts to check. We know now that it was complete bullshit. So what facts were verified? UNIRock had nothing to verify. There was nothing there. All right. So you want to read the third one?
To the extent that you have been victimized by the conduct in which Miss Kennett has now admitted engaging, we are informed that you may file a complaint with UK authorities using the link below. Thank you to all that have assisted our investigation.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, what it would actually do on my part. Like, there's other people, absolutely, I think that they should. But as far as me, I don't know what I could really. I never talked to Natalie. I've never responded to anything from Natalie. People know this now, right? So when there was a claim out there that they had verified that I sent Natalie death threats, people know that was BS. That it was not verified.
I mean, it'd be kind of interesting to see you file a report explaining that due to the allegations made and false things, whatever list of things, accounts, yada yada, made by this person and her self-insertion, a journalist, an online journalist, had picked up that information and spread it.
Yeah, but that's not a criminal thing. That's a civil tort, right? I do, like I said, I'm on the fence about the criminalities involved for any other persons other than Nat, but I can't make a case for it. I can't make an argument.
Most of it would fall under civil stuff.
But it's definitely civil and unethical behavior without question.
Yeah, it would fall, anything that would fall under like a dox, anything that would fall under a threat of any kind, anything that would fall under making or sending messages to the police, anything like that would fall under criminal. But
right.
and like the UK has different, keep in mind, if you think it falls under that, you may as well file either way, because worst case scenario, they'll be like, actually, no, this doesn't apply, yada, yada, yada. UK laws are different. So just keep in mind that UK laws are very much different when it comes to what is and is not allowed.
Right. Yeah. Well, but also, doxing is not in itself, and I've said this before, doxing in of itself is not a criminal act. It's only a criminal act when it's combined with the pattern of harassment and things of that nature.
Yeah, right. There are other caveats that are involved. Doxing isn't that simple as a lot.
Oh my God, it isn't. There are so many different people that have so many different views of what doxing is. It's unreal. And look, everybody has their different level of what they accept. In certain things, I am very stringent. Like, I've just recently figured out that I'm a lot more stringent against racism than other people. I don't like any racial terms. You don't hear me call people racial terms. You don't see me even use racial terms because I just think they're all vile. Whatever ethnicity you are, I don't like slurs when it comes to that. And you've never heard me use a slur against somebody like that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because I really detest them. And so I just recently learned that my standing on when it comes to racism is way higher against it than some people. But it's not saying that they're pro-racist, no, but it just means that I will not even use certain words even to talk about, and other people will, and that's fine. I mean, I think there are times to use certain words.
One pet peeve when it comes to racial slurs, and it's only because I don't think we should change anything, and I'm not complaining to say that, oh no, this should totally be allowed, or this should be that or the other thing. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm just saying it bothers me a little bit. Enough that it bothers me. I really don't like trying to have conversations about words and not being able to use the word you're having a conversation about when you're talking about the history, whatever it is you're having the conversation
Absolutely. No, I'm totally agreeing with you on that. However,
it's very frustrating. I'm not saying change it. I'm not saying use it. I'm not saying I don't understand. It's just frustrating to try to be clear in what you're saying. You shouldn't be calling people any slurs. You shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. But when you're discussing a word, not being able to say the word is very, very frustrating for me.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely think you should be able to say the word, and in many cases, I think you should say the word. However, even though I know I probably should say certain words when we're discussing those certain words, in fact, if you go watch
something called priority and tact.
Well, there's also what's called fighting words that have used to instigate fights that are not covered by like freedom of speech and things of that nature, as far as like the legalities issues, how you use them. But if you go watch a video by Crash Course Philosophy, one of the best channels out there for philosophy, very easily digestible. They did a great video on fighting words, and he uses a very specific word, and he says it, and he tells people, look, this might offend you, but I have to say the words so you can talk about the impact of that particular word. And he's absolutely right. I just have a hard time even saying certain words like that.
Yeah,
it's uncomfortable for me.
I'm certainly not going to go around policing people saying you should say this word in this context or you shouldn't say this word in this context, because guess what I am? I am a small white female in Canada. I should not. This is not up to me.
Hypothetically,
this has
not been confirmed.
Hypothetically, my gender is non-confirmed. Right. But I am not the one to make these distinctions. I'm not the one to make. I will certainly, if requested, help boost up someone whose voice matters more. Like, people don't need to hear what I have to say about this because I don't matter to this. I'm not the one being affected. But there are people who do, and there are people who are, and those are the voices that matter in these kinds of discussions. Yeah, so they're the ones that should get to pick and dictate and tell us what is helpful to them.
It should be pointed out that whatever gender you are, according to Exile, you're a traitor to it. So
no, I thought that was Spackle, but whatever. It's probably both.
Oh, was it? I'm so sorry. I apologize to Exile.
They all share a singular
hive mind.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they all share the single brain cell between all of them.
Is maple syrup a racial slur?
Hey, Tal, by the way, hope you're well. Well, I'll give you I will give one example real quick before we kind of move on, because I think this is an important issue, and I do want to dive into this particular topic on non sequitur again once we get it back, or if we get it back. But because I think that we want to talk about very controversial topics, but in a very high level way to show that it can be done. And racism is a huge, just
I think that's a really, really important thing to talk about more. But it's one of those things that needs to be talked about in the right way.
Right, and Twitter's not the place to do it.
Twitter's not the place to do it, and it needs to be talked about by adults with people who are the people being affected. Like I said, those are the voices that matter the most in these sorts of situations. The people who are being affected by racism and racial slurs and discrimination, gender discrimination, those are the people whose voices need to be heard, need to be boosted, and need to be valued more than, somebody like me. What the fuck do I know?
No, I agree with you on that. And it is a matter of valuing. That's what it is. It's not a matter of you have to agree with anybody. You can say, look, this person, this is their opinion on that. I disagree. I disagree with Erin on racism, racial usage. Dramatically, do I disagree with her on it? But I value her opinion, not because she's part of that group, but I value, opinions in general. But if a person who's being affected by it, of course, I'm going to value their opinion on it. But I can have two people of the same group have different opinions. Doesn't mean I cannot. I mean, physically or logically, I cannot accept both sometimes, right?
Well, and sometimes
but I value both.
A matter of nobody's wrong, because that's a situation that happens sometimes where it's just like sometimes it's a personal boundary, and sometimes it's affected by where and who you've grown up around, and like there's so much that goes into something like that. That's why those kinds of conversations are important, to have the same kind of conversation or the same topic of conversation with a lot of different people.
Absolutely. Yeah. But also, like I said, I think it's a matter of, or actually you said, it's a value of having those people in the conversation that pertains to the most.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with having difficult conversations about difficult topics. It's just a matter of the topics that need to be handled with care are handled with care and appropriately, so that way you don't accidentally end up signal boosting like ethno-state people or something.
Right. which we weren't intending to do on non sequitur. Okay, that was. I still think we handled that brilliantly. I really. And
there does need to be a degree of have a little bit of empathy or charity or generosity or grace towards people sometimes when something that comes up that was never intended to come up does.
Right.
And so they're not ready in a live show for a conversation that they weren't prepared to have.
Two things real quick. One, hey, Chesh, should I mention who I just spoke with this morning? Because that would kind of been perfect for this conversation.
yeah, you should. Absolutely.
I did have a little brief communication with Jesse Lee Peterson this morning. Weird that came about. No big deal of what it was.
You want a dumpster fire? Get Jesse Lee Peterson.
But I have let him know that he's welcome to come back on. I'm sure he will, but that would be a good topic for him. Wow.
We're gonna bring Jesse Lee Peterson on to talk about racism. We're gonna bring him on with like Mikey or Robert, because
God, Robert Reed, Mikey Cage. Mikey Famine, not Mikey, there's a different Mikey. Mikey Famine, and
Jesse Lee Peterson.
Jesse Lee Peterson would be the ultimate board on that. That would be just amazing.
I would die. I would just sit quietly and just.
Oh, I'm sure Robert and Mikey would. And I'm pretty sure that Jesse would as well. We've always had a good rapport. But I was going to give an example, like, real quick that I've given before. I'm not comfortable, using the word queer, but I will say it because I'm not uncomfortable saying it, because I know that it doesn't have the sting that it did in the 80s, but I will not use it in reference to people just because it's not something that I'm comfortable doing. Right. But saying it, I'm okay with, because also, you have like shows like Queer as Folk and Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, which I thought was a really excellent show.
It's because it's the cadence,
normalized
language has shifted, and that happens with the majority of words. But most words that are considered slurs in one sense weren't. So like I'm the same way with like the word retard. In this case, this is a word that was not a slur, became a slur, and then moved to and is starting to move away again. So it's like the words go in cycles and they move around. The word dumb used to mean the same thing, and it moves around. And like idiot, same thing. Anything like that has a cycle and a move, and language is weird like that, and it evolves and it changes, and words shift around, and some ways are really, really bad. Like persuade.
Well, that's why context is important.
People don't know the difference between the word persuade and convince anymore, and that's annoying.
That seems odd to me that they wouldn't know the difference. That's, but yeah, you're probably right on that.
No.
But the point being is that words have to be taken in context, and contextualization is very subjective. And I keep telling people that so many times that I have a high standard for evidence, and I want to deal with the hard evidence, not what people necessarily say, because it could be taken different ways. Locution is one thing, but also there's illocutionary factors that have to be taken into account. And I think a lot of people will just take what somebody says and runs with it, not actually trying to understand the context. This is why it's critical, and I believe this wholeheartedly. It is critical that people understand the 5 C's that Cheshire and I have talked about. Matter of fact, I think it's so strongly of that I have it as my trailer video on my channel. That means something, right? That means I think that probably is one of the most important videos on my channel.
It was a good one.
Yeah, I very much thought it was a good one. All right, so let's move along a little bit here.
We got off in the weeds a little bit.
But you know what? I'm fine with that, because it's an important. Because again, all this is going to be tied together, because we're talking about the community's response to content creators not using the 5 C's, not having principle of charity, and definitely going out of their way to harm other content creators. So I think it all ties in together. So I don't want to show that one yet. Actually, I'll show this one yet. All right. This is something that I have never made public. This is my.
I need to zoom that one in just a little bit if you can. Just control scroll. There you go. Is
that better?
Yes.
I'm trying to watch not really watching the outside that much, but
it's okay now. You're good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, so this is one of my responses to Michael Saltz. This was back in April of 26th. At this time, I really didn't know much about Nat. Okay, I've never contacted Nat. So anybody says that I recruited her, or that I was in league with her, or I told her anything, they're full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So he had asked me. Again, I'm not going to show his side of the communications because I don't do that, but I'm more than happy to show mine. But he had asked me about my opinion about the hackers. Who do I think involved and things of that nature. He asked me about Kyle Curtis, and he was wondering if Kyle's going to go to jail. And
was Kyle Curtis behind the hacking?
No. There's no relationship. Oh my God. What a twist.
What a twist.
That would have been oh my God.
It was Kyle all along.
Oh my God. It was Kyle. Kyle's Nat. Oh my God.
Could you imagine, like, Kyle knew? Kyle doesn't know. Kyle's too dumb. He doesn't know enough about, like, remember when he tried to fake those bank statements? Yeah, that's how good Kyle is at.
Well, no, I'll give him props. He got away with that for a while. I'm not gonna say he wasn't good at it. He just wasn't good enough.
I don't know. I don't know if he really got away with that for a while. It was one of those things that people didn't really notice it was legit faked.
I knew something was up. I knew that couldn't have been the case.
It was already being questioned from the get-go either way.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I couldn't prove it. That's the problem. At the time, I didn't have the resources to me
Yeah.
to prove it. But all right, so let's read this. So he has this is again, give the backstory. He had asked me, you know, a little bit about Kyle and blah, blah, and he asked me about the who I thought the hackers were involved. And I responded to him this. We'll see how well it aged. Okay.
Mhm.
I say, I don't. Other than I will tell you, I highly recommend that every fiber of my being that you do not involve YouTube troll UNIRock in any way, as he's absolutely computer illiterate and just wants publicity. Now, this will tie in eventually here because UNIRock is trying to message Salsa, going, hey, no problem for, my help for you and shit like that, because,
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But for foreshadowing here. Then I say he is what is called a LARPer and injects himself in high profile things just to get views for his channel, and will absolutely fabricate information to do so. I have overwhelming evidence of that. He is about as utterly dishonest as they come. I would also highly recommend avoiding YouTube lawyer Nate Brody, who is just as dishonest as UNIRock is, which again is my personal opinion, and I have evidence for.
If anybody wants to know that UNIRock is just like absolute trash, look into why his first channel isn't he doesn't use
monetized it. Yeah. As far as the hackers, and by the way, the word hack, this term has been so just butchered of what hacking kind of is construed in the computer community or the computer community, but whatever, I'm just going to use it as just anybody having some fuckery at this point. But I, like anybody else, just have my theories. See how I point out to him that this is subjective. I don't state things as fact. And I say, but I do know, well, this is a fact. I do say things, I should say, I do say things as fact that are factual. Because I say, but I do know for a fact that Ms. Paulson has used sites like lolcows and Kiwi Farms to find people to go to those who she deems a threat. I have evidence of that. That is a fact.
She admitted to that on stream, right. Unprompted, on a stream by herself. She's the only one there. She just said that.
I also go to say I meant to say one of your filings, you have a screenshot of her asking one of her ex-mods, Kendra, aka Tiny Dancer, that's not doxing her, people know her name, if she knew any I always have to qualify these things, don't I, anymore? Right? It's just sad that I have to do that.
It's important to be clear.
Yeah. But yeah, people know who Kendra is. Kendra has actually blocked me. Fun fact. I don't get it, but whatever. I don't. We just don't see eye to eye on certain things, like her involving me in things that don't involve me. But whatever. I have nothing against Kendra. I just don't. But I just asked her don't involve me with certain things. If she knew any trolls to come after me, as she is trying to false flag my channel, I have additional evidence of this fact. Well, people have seen that evidence. People know that she has contacted various people to find, quote, trolls to false flag not just me, but other content creators, such as like Leslie Bass. We have that in evidence. I personally think that's something she tried to do backfired. In some way, things do eventually trace back to her, which of course is my personal opinion. However, and this is the critical part. However, I do not believe that she is directly responsible, as she isn't brazen enough to have people send those types of threats. I'm not going to just make wild accusations to anybody, private or publicly. Right? I don't believe that she was directly responsible for the things that people were saying, but we know now that Nat was responsible for. And this is my reasoning for that. Again, I give my personal opinion.
Oh my God, Steve had an opinion that was wrong.
No, that wasn't wrong. How was that opinion wrong?
Wait, didn't you say that you didn't believe Nat was doing this brazenly, or is that Kendra?
No. I'm referring to Katie Joy at that point.
Oh, you're referring to Katie at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, she is Katie Joy at this point. I do not believe that Katie Joy is directly responsible, as she isn't brazen enough to send people, have people send those types of threats, and I don't think that she is. I think she's much more manipulative about things, which has been shown in her communications with Nat. If people were with sufficient skill levels were at her disposal, she would have almost certainly tried to use them against me and to silence and intimidate me. And it seems like they are almost completely unaware of my existence, which, by the way, Natalie was unaware of my existence. She didn't know who I was. Guess who told her about me? Any guesses on that, Chesh?
Oh, gee, I don't know.
Yeah. So we know that it was basically Katie, trying to bring my name into these things. So I think this held up pretty well so far, because whoever they were trying to do these things, they weren't going after me because they didn't really know who I was. And then I say, if I think of anything that'll help you, you'll be the first I let know. But my main advice is to just do not in any way underestimate the psychopathy of these people involved. That aged exceptionally well. They, however, the quote victim type that these hackers, whoever they are, seem to be probably very young trolls. And I don't know Knight's age, but she's sure to me pretty young, who have an agenda all their own, which again, aged very well, but we don't know what her agenda is. And I don't think it is actually to basically to help Miss Paulson. That's my 2 cents at least. So I make it very clear that whoever these hackers are, I don't think, I even said it to Saltz, I don't think they're helping Katie. I don't think that they're going out of the way to do anything to help Katie. Now, did Katie try to use Nat to help herself?
Half the time, Katie's not even helping Katie.
But I want people to see that I am the same way in public as I am in private. I don't send out false allegations, and I'm talking to a lawyer here, right? I mean, so it's pretty it's self-explanatory that I'm just not going around going, oh, well, I think these people this and this. I'm not throwing out things without justification, and I certainly am not making false allegations, out my ass like some people do. But I mean, what do you think, Chester? I mean, overall, did this age pretty well?
Surprisingly, actually, it does. This was Monday, April 26th.
And again, I didn't know much about Nat, so this was just basically hip, just from my hip kind of thing.
Yeah, just what's your current opinion based on very limited information? You got things pretty on the nose. You even defended Katie, which is nice of you.
Yeah, well, Tina and I have a long-standing thing. Tina and I are exactly the same way on this. We see no reason to have anything that's false against anybody, including Katie, because all it does is muddy the waters. That's just why we exceptionally made it clear that we want things to be factual. This is why Tina had the Facebook group to begin with that Katie had maligned. And maybe that Facebook group might be opened again. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something to be said for, you'll notice something consistent through this entire time frame that this investigation, from where it started to where it ended up during this time frame of who is talking about what and who isn't saying shit. Because there's something very, very telling about the people who stayed quiet and then the people who have decided to come forward and speak now. Right? The people who are coming forward to speak about it now are not coming empty-handed. They're not throwing allegations left, right, and center about additional. They're not throwing in additional jabs or getting trying to rope in other people or other things that are maybe it's a stretch or maybe it's not even close to a stretch. Right? You've got people showing up now with screenshots and documentation upon documentation upon documentation. Not just, I'm going to sit and draw lines in MS Paint.
Yeah, that was one of those murder boards I've ever seen, anything like that. And by the way, I didn't watch that stream. I only saw screenshots, but holy crap.
That's a
psychotic mind.
Uni would be really funny if he was like a parody channel. Like if he was doing
that should have been his calling. Yeah, no, you're right.
If he was doing all what he was doing facetiously and was less harmful, or I shouldn't say harmful, he's very malicious. If he was less butthurt and malicious and was actually just being a parody of what he's actually doing currently, he would be really funny.
I have to give you that. No, I'm going to say you're probably right on that. But again, notice what I said at the end of this. That is my 2 cents. So I want people out there to see that. That is my 2 cents. I am stating it as subjective opinion, and I wish more people would do this. Now, if you're out there in the audience, I just looked, and we do have a pretty decent sized people number of listening. Do you guys think, based upon my information at the time, that this was a reasonable thing to tell Michael? Do you think that it aged well? Give me your view in the live chat and the comment section before or after. That's fine. But I'm kind of curious what you guys think. So let's kind of go further and why this kind of ties in together. So Keon posted this earlier, and it's basically UNIRock saying Steve threatened Nat, and based upon, of course, Nat's BS. And just to highlight a portion, Nat said he threatened me to stay quiet. I was questioning things and follow Miss Noble's instructions. This never happened, obviously. Said bad things happen to people who don't follow the rules, which I don't even know what the hell that even means.
What rules?
Yeah, what rules? I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's just really weird. She says he's not very kind. I reported him to the police. If he lived here, I'd go for restraining order too. And if that's his real profile. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think there was even a fake profile involved in this. I think this was completely made up from start to finish. But if there was, I can understand that as well. But I think it was completely made up from start to finish. I could tell you right now that I have overwhelming evidence. I mean, exculpatory evidence, because I have my Instagram accounts that I never sent out anything. And during the Kay Baxter stream, if you guys remember, well, there have been a few streams, but Waxy and Katie both in Kay's streams have accused me of these things. And Katie went so far to say that she validated that it was my account. We know that is not true. I mean, she might have, and again, this is supposition. She might have most validated that I have an Instagram account. I don't know, but people know I have an Instagram account. I have more than one Instagram account, but there's only been one Instagram account that I've ever sent any DMs on. One. That's it. One. So if you've gotten a DM from me, that was from the only account that I use, which is my main instant account. I've never DM'd anybody on any other account.
I don't talk to Steve on Instagram.
I loathe Instagram. It's just a pain. I don't like it. There's only a very, very small amount of people that I talk to.
It is really not for Steve. That's
yeah, because I'm not a kind of person to send out photos all the time, right? I'm not what is it? Taking
it's just
selfies.
Not the way you operate. Selfies or otherwise. Instagram just is not the kind of layout or the kind of platform that is conducive to what you like to do.
Exactly. Other than that, I have nothing against Instagram. So, but this is UNIRock, saying this, Steve's threatening that. He didn't bother to validate anything. He didn't ask for any evidence. He didn't care. This was him supporting the narrative because it suited his agenda. So this was not him helping Saltz. And I think it's very critical to put that out there.
I would want to see evidence that Uni was helping Saltz. I would love that as well. I would love to see. I'm not saying that he needs to share his DMs with Saltz. He doesn't need to say what Saltz said, but I would absolutely love to see an example of UNIRock being helpful, period. Anywhere, about anything.
Saltz at least acknowledged the input that Rankin had. I don't see him, even if he did, let's say that Saltz did say that UNIRock help. I would straight up, and if Saltz does do this, I will straight up ask him, what did UNIRock help you with? I will absolutely ask him that question.
Show me where. Yes, I wouldn't trust, because the thing is like I've seen people say like, well, I don't trust Saltz because of this, that, and the other thing, and it's like that's totally fair. I also am on that camp that I don't just trust what Saltz is saying by fiat.
I don't either.
It was Erin and Rankin's stream that backed up, or whichever one came out first. I'm not sure if Saltz's tweet came out first or the stream one. It was all that
first. This was today. This came out today.
Gotcha. It was all that documentation that they showed that correlates with what Saltz has said. That makes me think that Saltz is telling the truth right now. It's not just Saltz just saying it. So if Saltz says that Steve is involved in this, or Katie's involved in this, or Uni's involved in this in whatever direction or whatever way, I'm not going to believe it just on fiat.
So Tom says, wait, UNIRock is not a parody channel. It is a parody channel, but it's not the intention of it. So does he intend it to be? No, but is it a parody? Yeah, in some ways, because it's all BS. His channel is just as I'm going to steal this from Manya, a dollar store Alex Jones. I don't think you can get a better app description than what Manya has.
Clark Kent is a way better journalist.
So again, to the community, where's UNIRock's responsibility? Because he helped facilitate these narratives. He helped promulgate Natalie's misinformation to try to slander me, Tina, Erin, and other people. Where's the responsibility? Now, here's the kind of thing. This is the problem that I run into, Chesh. There's obviously the Streisand effect, right? And if larger creators start talking about UNIRock, he loves that. He just thrives on that. Negative attention to him is golden.
Oh, right? Yeah, he's already losing his, before you even really showed or said much, he was already losing his damn mind. It's kind of funny.
And I tell you right now, I do not pay attention to him. I just don't. What I see comes through.
Somebody sent me a screenshot, and I was just like, oh, yeah okay. Of course.
So the problem I have is if larger creators start like pointing out and holding UNIRock responsible, will it do anything of any consequence other than giving him what he wants? I don't know. This is Katie, we don't have to worry about. Katie has a pretty good channel, and I think that her subscribers have a right to know what's going on if they want to. I mean, I think a lot of them probably just don't care.
You're talking about how a larger channel talking about UNIRock could be more problematic than anything
Right.
else. You're boosting him more than he needs to be boosted.
Right. And I'm on the fence about that. And one of the reasons, if you guys haven't noticed, I talk about him so very little on my channel. He's done how many videos against me? How many hundreds of videos?
So interestingly enough, I was actually counting today because I was curious and I wrote down the number. Let me just find it real quick.
I am curious about the number.
It's not a full number. It's not 100. Like it's not 100%. But I counted 66 on UNIRock 2, and I counted over 100 on Rock a Lot.
So let's just say 160 plus. Can you count how many I've had? I'm sure it's probably a dozen at most, maybe. I would go 2 dozen. I don't think it's that much.
Yeah, it would be it would be under 20 for sure.
Yeah, I think some of that ballpark, but nowhere near what he has done. And certainly everything that I put out is fact. I try to be as factual as possible. He tries to be unfactual as possible. So I'm kind of hesitant on that.
He tries something.
But I will say this. I think at this point, unfortunately, maybe larger creators have to get involved. And it may help him. It may. But you know what? Even if it does, people out there are at least warned about this. People at least have the right to decide whether they want to go watch something like this and be involved with somebody who actively has gone out to harm people or not. And sure, there are going to be shitlords that follow him because of that. I get that. But I think overall, maybe not. I don't know. That's up to the individual content creators. I'm not telling people to go do anything, obviously.
It's one of those things that it's very dependent on how the coverage is handled. It's one of those topics that if it's handled appropriately, then he can't really use it. There's a reason why UNIRock doesn't really look at and doesn't really talk about some of the kind of more exposy type videos I've done about him and his crew. And it's because he can't show any of it. He can't show a single piece of my video because as soon as he does, everything that's on screen will undermine what he's saying. And if he plays any amount of the audio, same problem. So it's very much a matter of being tentative or at least very, very aware of how you're presenting what you're presenting. You need to be incredibly precise.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, I got an echo. If they do it, like you said, they have to do it very, very cautiously. Kind of like how I do it. I think this is very, very cautious. I'm just going to straight out tell you this. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything at this point when it comes to UNIRock. My position is going forward. If you believe anything UNIRock says by fiat, just without question, or if you follow him because you actually think that he's, has honor or integrity or is putting out correct information, you are beyond hope. You are beyond my ability to even reach, and I want nothing to do with you. And that's fine. I mean, there are certain people that just you cannot persuade, and I'm not going to even attempt to.
I think there's also like a degree of you need to be wary of this kind of people because these are not people who actually know or understand what criticism actually is. Like they don't know the difference between pushback, backlash, and harassment.
Mm-hmm.
I shit you not. Today alone, because I'm working on a project for January, because I'm being wholesome on my channel, so I don't get to talk about any of this. So I'm like,
boy, you picked a bad time, didn't you?
I'm prep. My January is gonna be savage. I'm gonna call it Savageuary. I don't know, but it's a work in progress. But I've got one script pretty much already done. I've got 2 more that I'm getting ready for, and like January, like with actual videos instead of live streams on this stuff, I'll probably have a correlating live stream. But I was screenshotting today before we went live, and Steve heard me counting. I screenshotted over 200 tweets just about one word.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you what word it is because that's going to give it away. One word.
Which is being used for
200 tweets. You want to know the difference between criticism, backlash, or harassment? 200 is a pretty good number.
Colonel Commissioner, Colonel, how do you pronounce that word? Commissar? Says,
I can't read.
Is UNIRock still a thing? Seems like cockroaches can survive anything. Yeah, and they attract other cockroaches. So yeah, he's always, people like UNIRock are always going to exist. They're always going to be people that have no ethics whatsoever that are going to be drawn to those kind of channels. It's just part of the nature of the internet and YouTube. And this is why I think that if larger content creators hold UNIRock accountable for what he has said, as far as pointing out that he blatantly went out of his way to harm other people by putting forth a fake narrative, which he did the same thing when it came to the Kyle Curtis and the non-sequitur thing. He did the exact same thing. But if they do call him out on it, it should be very simple that, hey, look, UNIRock has said these things. They have been demonstrated not to be true. He owes a whole bunch of people an apology, and see what happens. That's it. That's the only thing that needs to be said. And by the way, I will tell you right now, I'm not going to accept any apology from UNIRock. I'm just not. It's not going to happen. But do I think that he absolutely owes people like Tina an apology? Yep. Erin an apology? Yep. Cheshire an apology? Yep. And anybody else that he's defamed. But that's not going to happen. We know this. But
No,
that I think is what the community response is where's the apology from UNIRock? Where and it's not just an apology, I think an apology is nowhere near.
Retraction would be better.
How about deleting his entire videos? How about deleting his channel?
Oh
That would
my
be a start.
god. Yeah, I mean, realistically, it might be in UNIRock's best interest to start another channel for the fifth time. Dude, just start fresh in another part of the internet, my guy.
I mean, I'm all for having an accurate record, but at this point, I think his videos are just salacious in nature and serve no other purpose than, for himself. And so if all his videos got deleted, I'm okay with that. I don't know how YouTube has not deleted his channels. I really don't know.
There is something to be said about if you believe that a video breaks terms of service, that as per YouTube's community guidelines, you are hoped for by YouTube to report such videos and channels.
But they don't seem to act on those things.
To help keep YouTube a user-friendly place.
Yeah, but they don't seem to act on them. I don't know why. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, it is. All right, so let's go to the next thing here.
You do realize I say these things because I'm 100% expecting UNIRock to be watching and then flip the hell out.
He'll
saying,
double down.
Not a false flag me. Nah.
I will make a prediction right now that not only will UNIRock
he's already probably live.
Yeah, I mean he will double down, and if he does apologize, it's going to be so insincere and passive aggressive to be of no consequence, anyways. I'm not.
It'll be one of those. I'm sorry, you're such a horrible person that this happened.
He didn't do this, but he did all these other things. Kind of crap. It doesn't matter. He's never going to have a sincere apology. He's not capable of it, and
he would have to be sincere at all in the first place to be able to.
So this is UNIRock again trying to flip the script. And Michael had, said about, thank you for the assistance. And he says, oh, and you're welcome. Glad to assist. What a sad story it turned out to be. Yeah, this is him flipping the script to try to make people look like he actually helped in any way.
That comment is brilliant, though.
Yeah. Read the comment.
If you knew, why did you keep going after the others?
Can we get an applause for that? Talk of the town. I award you the honorary internet best comment of the day. Yes,
you win today.
You win today. There is no other question out there of that magnitude of a rejoinder that needs to be raised other than, wait, UNIRock, if you knew all this was the case, then why were you constantly going after people trying to say they were involved?
If you were part of the investigation, you helped and you knew what was going on, why in your other screenshot, Steve, if you could please pull that up real quick.
Which one?
The one where he said you're threatening Nat.
Yep.
Why is this a tweet?
Yeah. And by the way, we didn't want to sit there and go through all the stuff UNIRock had said because it's just massive. And there's no reason to. You guys are all seeing it. It doesn't matter. That's not the point of this. People know that UNIRock. I mean, how many videos? 166 or something? That's your evidence right there. And we're not talking about 5-minute videos. We're talking about 6 to 8 hour long streams, some of them.
If I could make a suggestion for people, I would say be wary of people who just have streams where they're only sitting around and shit talking, making accusations that don't do anything like what Steve is doing right now and actually showing screenshots. What I like to do on my channel is I will do a video or a stream where I will show all of the information. Then I will have a correlating hangout to let other people kind of talk and tell me what they think about what I've shown, meaning that the information screenshots go out first, then out comes the discussion or like the shit talking. It's okay to shit talk. Go ahead and shit talk. But if you're going to make accusations, particularly accusations about crime, it may very well be a good idea to make sure that you've put that information out or at least brought it with you. Otherwise, you're just a garbage person.
I couldn't agree more. I would really, I mean, this question to me, again, people know that I tend to try to ask the important questions. That's what I try to do in this channel. And unfortunately, it hasn't gained as much success by any means as Non Sequitur show. But I want to be known for that. That's what I'm going to try to migrate my stuff to do. Be that person who have honest dialogues and discussions.
You're also trying to hold back on this channel, though, too. So, I mean,
there's a lot of stuff I could have put on this channel that I'm saving for getting Non Sequitur.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I think that had you decided to not do that, which I think was still a good decision. Like, I think you made a good
we didn't know it was going to go for so long. Yeah.
Well, that and at the end of the day, even if we knew, I still think you've made a good decision one way or another because of brand issues.
Yeah.
But on top of that, like, put that aside, had you not made the decision you did and went forward with putting a lot of the stuff that you were going to put out anyway, I think that this channel would have just gone the same direction as Non Sequitur.
I would like to think so. I mean, it just boggles my mind that you have channels out there like Katie's and Night the Lawyers that you've gotten so big. And I know the real them. It just blows my mind that they became successful that way. But whatever. It's not a matter. People say, "Well, you sound envious" or whatever. I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's I'm comfortable where I'm at.
You're confused about the dishonesty. You're not confused about like, oh, why did they have those numbers and I don't? You're confused as to why people would want to watch that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't watch either of their channels, clearly. Deadly Rifader says he did strike gold. He did struck gold when he realized how fanatic the fuck Steve crowd is. Oh, you ain't even joking on that. He could probably feed them for years because they don't care what he says is true, or long as they can bash Steve for whatever. Absolutely 100%. Could not agree with that more. That is one of the most 100% comments. I'm
kind of curious to know what would happen if UNIRock stopped covering Steve. And I'm not really like, I know a lot of people would stop watching him. But there's a couple of people I'd be curious to know which direction they went, like if they still kept simping for him or not. So like Negative, Menace, and Trio, I'd be curious.
Oh, speaking of simping, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious to see if they kept following UNIRock for whoever they're going after, or if they would also kind of drop off the bandwagon a little bit because they're so obsessed with you.
Yeah, like this guy who I've never talked to in my life, never had him in a hangout, know nothing about him. Don't know how the hell he knows me.
This is the really super duper transphobic guy.
But this guy is, and this guy you've talked about a little bit on your channel. I have included some screenshots for him from this guy in my lawsuit. So
I don't doubt that. He's a very good.
Oh yeah, I've have so many screenshots from people on UNIRock's side, screenshots that just completely prove my case. So I think
they have legitimately made your case against KJ.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's amazing. It's like, I cannot believe, like, I knew these people were kind of on the dumb side, but I cannot believe like how much they have done to help you.
Indirectly, yeah, because of course I'm trying to prove that she has had people believe her stuff that has affected my reputation. Hello, here you go. This is one of those uni stands that has gone out of his way to say things relating to what Katie has said that weren't true, which has affected my reputation. That's part of my lawsuit. Now to them, they're like, "Oh yes, I made the lawsuit." Well, okay, big deal. But yeah, I definitely have all that. So he says, and this is another thing to Saltz. It has nothing to do with anything. He's like, I really hope those connections to her get investigated, as well as fraudulent fundraising and so much more. There's so much the FBI can do here. And he's not referring to Katie's fundraising. What he's referring to is what he believes is fraudulent fundraising. Substances like my GoFundMe now that they have said is fraudulent and they try to shut down when we all know that it's completely not. I mean, but this is one of the guys that's tried to shut it down.
The connections to her, meaning who is connected to Nat, implying Steve.
Right. Yeah, this is one of those people that are trying to flip the script just like Uni does.
Well, he's replying under, like, right below UNIRock too, isn't he?
Yes, I think so. Well, no, he's replying to Michael, but it's right there with Uni at the same time. They're like joined at the hip. But he's trying to imply, oh, look, there's more to this. Hey, Michael, why don't you look into this quote fraudulent fundraising? Michael doesn't give a flying fuck about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
At all. And so this is them making themselves look completely clownish. Oh, look at the avatar. Go figure.
It's absolutely absurd because there's like a degree of not only is all that nonsense, but on top of that, it has nothing to do with the FBI.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? And Super McGoofball. I mean, this guy is a clown.
Maybe
absolute clown.
I on a silver platter presented them with something that might actually be fraudulent, and they're just like, nope, Steve. It's like,
Nope,
okay. I guess they don't like Slurpees, or they like Slurpees too much. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna stop screen sharing there. All right. So I mean, I really want to kind of get the community involved with this as far as what you guys think should be the proper. And I want to make this very clear.
You mean like what would be restitution?
Well, no, I want to make this very clear. I want to know the community's opinion and about how a proper verbal response should be. And I'm not, like I said, I want to make sure that nobody does anything in real life. Nobody goes after anybody. Nobody does anything stupid. I will denounce that and boot you as fast as you could possibly imagine. That is what I'm asking the community is for. What is an appropriate community response as far as denouncing this type of behavior verbally?
Trebuchet.
Trebuchet, as you know, Bullinator, rest in peace, would say trebuchet. Absolutely. That's a good way to put it. I don't speak French. But you know what? We're definitely going to honor him on the Non Sequitur show somehow with that word. But yeah, that's exactly it. What do you guys think? So give me guys just feedback here. I know there's a time delay, obviously.
I actually think that is my answer. The answer is trebuchet.
But
anytime you see somebody putting out some garbage,
I got you to say that.
That they can't back up, just say the word trebuchet.
I like that. I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Toss it out. Throw it out.
Toss it out. But also, I don't even know why these people communicate with any of these people.
And trebuchets are siege weapons. Fun fact.
Crystal Clark for $5 super chat. Thank you. She says, "I'm here for the redemption. New community name. Thanks."
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, Crystal. Welcome. So I think it's more than that. I think it's again, it's more than just saying trebuchet. I think it is asking the pertinent questions. I think that's the appropriate community response. What the questions should be asked? In fact, that one question asked of UNIRock. Well, what then? Why were you falsely accusing other people if you were assisting Salsa and knew that was all bullshit? Oh, Ivy Kuhn, read with this. This. Oh my God! I didn't even think about this.
Oh, you want me to read out loud?
Yeah.
IA trebuchet isn't that the thing that hurls UNIRocks?
Boy, that's appropriate. I didn't even think about that. That's
trebuchet.
Trebuchet. Yeah. So let me read the live chat here. Okay, so Tina wants me to go look at something. So can you take over for a second?
Oh yeah. What do you have to leave your computer? What?
No, I'm focused on something.
All right. Hi, it's me. After this, you guys should totally head over to my channel because we're doing a charity outreach type thing to kind of counteract all this absolute nonsense. Sometimes, instead of calling out other people's behavior, it's good to take a look at ourselves to see what we can do to potentially maybe just drown out some of this negative garbage with being helpful and informative about ways you might be able to help out in your community. Keep in mind that these are not fundraisers. These are not donation drives. Any super chats and membership joining will go to me. If you want to support me, great. It's greatly appreciated. If you don't want to, that's fine. But keep in mind that if you do want to donate, please do so directly. Links will be available in the description if you are interested. I already did one with Vegan Atheist Coral, who is a lovely, wonderful human being who deserves everything that she ever wants in the world. And it was about animal rescue, animal transport, as well as supporting writers across the country and the world. So if you're interested in that, you can go watch my last one, which was yesterday, and the one today will be with lovely Sue, and I hope to see you guys there. That'll be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is in about an hour and a half.
And that's one thing I think we're going to be integrating with non-sequitur, our love for animals. Because I'm sorry, if you are somebody that will harm an animal, you are just a psychopath. Okay, so Tina, yeah, I did get that. I suppose you want me to show that because yeah, it's public anyways. So let me show you. I guess. And when was this put out? When was this tweet? Before I show it, when was this tweet?
I don't know. I can't see it.
I'm asking Tina. But well, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna show it. But yeah, so screen share. Application.
Tom says, you want to fight nonsense on the internet? Oh boy, you have a big fight to go. Yeah, absolutely. So you should all come support me, fight negativity with positivity over on my channel. If I don't see every single one of you in here, I'm gonna do nothing about it. It's fine. Yeah,
and if you want to help fight, just get our channels out there more. We no offense, Cheshire, you're as bad as me on this. We suck at promotions. We really do. Yeah. I'm worse, but we're not good at promoting our channels. I'm fully aware of that. I don't have a PR firm. I have, a very, very amazing base and subscribers, but I don't know how to mobilize them to try to get us, more subs or more Twitter people. I have no idea. My Twitter actually is going up. My YouTube has been steady for ages, but my Twitter is going up, because I think people realize that I do put out information there. So, all right. So this is from Katie. She says she's a true psychopath, and I'm obviously she's referring to Nat. She is still sending me death threats and accusing me of crimes. Okay, who cares? At this point, nobody believes Nat for anything when it comes to that. So this is
nobody believes Nat or KJ at this point about anything. Like this.
Well, her fans do for whatever reason, but
oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, this is to me playing into a persecution thing. And then she says, she used the anti-Katie Joy community to attack me, and they helped her until she turned on them. Look, I have said from day one, I have never been in the anti-Katie Joy community. I didn't even know many of those people. I still don't know any of them. People attach me to names that I've never even watched their stuff or never even talked to. Like Charlotte, I've never talked to her in my life, I don't think. I never talked to Waxy. I did communicate a little bit to Kate Baxter via Twitter. But I don't know these people. The only one, maybe Little Red would she be in the anti-Katie community? I guess. I don't know. I don't think there's a roster, right? But Tina and I were not in that community. Yeah,
I don't know. The thing is, it's like I said, it was just people just jumping in and on to be able to clout chase. As far as I'm concerned, Kay, clout chase. Waxy, clout chase. Absolutely. Charlotte, I don't know. I haven't really seen much about Charlotte. I saw a clip of Charlotte denouncing a lot of this stuff from quite a while ago, and denouncing Kay from quite a while ago. So I think I have
no idea. Okay, let me I'll sincerely ask this. Is Charlotte somebody that I even should have a conversation with about this stuff? I don't know. I'm completely neutral with her. I don't know.
I don't even know if there's a point in talking about this stuff anymore than what we're doing now, as well as unless there's some kind of new development. Unless Charlotte reaches out to you to talk about something.
She never has. Yeah, that's fair enough. And by the way, I want to put this out before we go any further. I've always said, look, my channel is not a drama channel. And then I have people like, oh, Steve's talking about this. He says it's not a drama channel. I'm gonna make an on the record statement on that. One, I have a very different usage of the term drama than other people. To me, drama is having a channel that fabricates things for views, that are not talking about the facts and not talking about the issues. Those are, to me, are drama channels. Now, if you want to call what we're doing drama, you want to say that I have a drama channel, I don't even give a shit at this point. I don't care, because you're using the term differently, and that's equivocation. So I don't care if people are saying Steve has a drama channel, okay, whatever. I'm not going to argue against it any longer. Okay. We good on that?
I mean,
fine. Because I know it's bullshit, and it's just they're equivocating the word because it's not how I use the word drama.
I think that there's like a really big difference between like UNIRock and Truth Sleuth, right?
Oh, they're about as far apart on the spectrum as if possible, right?
I wouldn't even put them on the same spectrum.
Well, there obviously has to be a spectrum. There has to be a dichotomy of people that wanted to make sure they have truth and people that go out of their way to lie. There's a spectrum.
I mean, I wouldn't put them on the same spectrum of drama channel.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think YouTube. I don't think she has a drama channel.
Right, exactly.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe she's far more informative and far more like, hey, this is the research I did, this is the information I found, and this is some of my opinion about it.
Yeah,
great.
Yep.
I don't view that as like she might be talking about drama, but she is not drama.
And I told her the other day that I find it very easy to listen to her voice. She seemed kind of surprised on that. I'm like, I was like, well, okay, listen, would you rather listen to Allie for an hour or UNIRock for 30 seconds? You be the judge.
I'm gonna have to take a clip of both of them, put them into like Audacity, just to see who has the higher tone, like set tone, because I think UNIRock's tone, like vocal tone, is higher than hers is.
Yeah. Well, I've got this really cheap pair of headphones. I mean,
commentary. Yeah, commentary is a good point. It's not drama. It's commentary.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. No,
Uni's not even a T
channel. Yeah, I disagree with
Uni's
you there, Allie. Uni is not a T channel.
Uni's just a bitch channel. He's just there to bitch about whatever.
It's an Alex Jones type channel. What do you call this thing?
Conspiracy channel.
Conspiracy
channel, yeah.
But I was gonna say that I bought this really, 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 really cheap pair of headphones, but they're surprisingly good. They're just this really cheap bass type headphones. And so I think they're sounding much better than they used to be because I only had like those little earpieces for a while. But anyways, moving on.
Rose said something that I want to touch on real quick. Sure. Rose said, nope, Charlotte doesn't believe that you have a case against Katie Joy and thinks your GoFundMe is ridiculous.
Oh,
that is a wonderful reason to actually have her on and talk to her about
that. I would be willing to do that.
Steve has actually been looking for somebody who thinks this kind of thing so they can have a discussion and explain, like, oh, why do you think this? Let's talk about that. That would be actually, I
agree with that.
Incredibly interesting.
Okay, so if you guys think that I should reach out to Charlotte to have that discussion, I'm willing to do that. Absolutely.
I do like that Rose gave a reason why she thinks you should not, and I was immediately like,
right. We're the opposite. People are like, sorry, Steve doesn't want anybody disagreeing with him, and we're like, wait, what? No, that's
I'm sorry. I know that wasn't your intention, and
sorry,
I'm really
Rose.
sorry about it, but that's actually brilliant.
But it gives me a heads up about Charlotte's mindset, because I could tell you right now, anybody with any legal stuff would just laugh at that. But I also want to put a quick shout out to somebody, just real quick. Bunny Rabbit, I want to put a shout out to her. Thank you for support. She put out she wasn't feeling well the other day, and I just want to make sure that she's feeling better. So thank you, Bunny. All right, so moving on with this particular thing here, she says, all of them played victims and were fine helping her harass me. Again, she's very like non-descriptive who she's talking to.
This is what I like to call specifically vague. She's being specific in her accusations, but she's being vague about how and who.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. This is her trying to lump into everybody. And of course, she's implying that it also includes people like myself and Tina and Erin and things like that, even though none of us are in the uneducated community. I don't think Erin would even think that she is. I don't know. I don't speak for her. I've wanted her to listen or even to join us today, but she was working. She goes on to say, but when I responded, it was bad. I was the bad one. This is like flipping the script if I've ever seen it. This is not taking responsibility. This is not Katie Joy going, oh man, I apologize for the people that I falsely accused. I haven't seen any of that yet. Where's the responsibility? Someone answer that question for me. I really want to know.
I would even switch the word from responsibility to accountability.
Perfect. Both are perfectly applicable. Where's the accountability for this?
It looks like I would recommend off of what chat's saying is you should not reach out to Charlotte, but maybe have an open invitation.
Okay. I can deal with that. Yeah, I can
So, like, you're not going to reach out to her, but if she were to
Okay.
indicate that she wanted to have a conversation, then she is more than welcome to try to set something up. I think that would be the best approach.
Claire probably knows more about
And
her
we
than
don't
I
trust
do.
her as far as we can throw her because we don't trust anybody as far as we can throw them. Have you been in a debate, though?
Claire probably knows better than me because, like I said, I have never really watched Charlotte. I may have seen clips, but yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I won't reach out to her, but there's an open invitation. If Charlotte thinks that I don't have a case or my GoFundMe is a joke, please let me know, because I also had Nate the lawyer, say kind of something similar about my GoFundMe. My GoFundMe has nowhere near covered the legal expenses I've had so far. Nowhere near.
I also kind of want to read this real quick. I'm just sending you the link. You should be able to see it because I think it's a little bit important to get out a little bit further if possible.
Okay.
You can share my DMs. I don't care. It's all the links you said you wanted to put out today. I just sent them all to you on Twitter.
Oh, well, I'll put them in the video description. Uncovering hypothesis. Come on, Steve. It'll never happen. We all know that she will never take responsibility or accountability for her actions. I threw that in there. And narcissists don't take accountability. Oh, yeah, he even says it. Narcissists don't take accountability. Yeah, I know. I'm just straight up.
It's one of those. Yeah. I think the question Steve is more asking is less about what Katie is going to do to take accountability or responsibility, and more about how people are going to react to her now in the future about this kind of, like, what are the consequences?
It's both. It's absolutely both.
Kind of situation.
Yeah, absolutely both. I mean, I was referring to initially what is Katie's accountability, but of course, yes, it is absolutely. That's the point of this video. What is the community's responsibility to address these things? Do they have one as YouTube creators? Now, that doesn't mean as a YouTube creator that you have an obligation to. No. Right, what it means to me is, if things are brought up to you as a content creator, should you respond? If somebody tweets to you something, how should you respond? That's what I'm kind of talking about as a content creator. Or if you feel like making videos about this stuff, that's fine as well. I don't know how this hasn't made the news at this point. I even said it should be newsworthy.
I'm kind of surprised it's not made it onto BuzzFeed.
Yeah, this is big stuff. This is the last time we had something of this magnitude, it made the news, and it was at.
Keeping in mind that Katie initially was considered, like, obviously her standing has not done. She hasn't done her standing any favors, but considering that she used to be considered a commentary channel of the same variety as like Truth Sleuth and Keemstar and like any kind of that chunk of internet, Augie, Shannon, the other one, Creepshow. All that like community commentary. Now, not all of them are good people, and not all of them have.
I avoid that community like a plague.
And not all of them have maintained the kind of integrity that we've seen from Truth Sleuth. But that group, KJ, was lumped into that style of YouTube commentary. And so with legal action being taken, and the direction that legal action goes is going to heavily affect what ends up happening on YouTube, because there's rumors going around from Todd Chrisley saying that they're in contact with people like YouTube legal. So do not be surprised if you see full-on changes to YouTube and the way YouTube functions and the way the algorithm functions because of this kind of shit.
Absolutely. And
that's why I started following the Toddy case. That's why I'm following the Todd Chrisley case. That's why I'm following the Steve case. I'm not following Steve's case because I fucking like him. I'm following Steve's case because it's going to change the way YouTube functions. Same with the Non-Sequitur Show case. It matters because it's going to change the way YouTube functions. And as soon as content creators start noticing that, it like, pay attention. It's going to this kind of stuff is going to seriously affect the way. It's like when H3H3 was in their lawsuit, that changed the landscape of
YouTube. They're in another one.
Yeah, they're in another one now. I haven't looked at that.
Yeah, and by the way, when I say I avoid the commentary community, I like the plague. I really do. The only exception, of course, is Allie, if she's in that community, because she's the only one in that community that I have been demonstrated has integrity. So, yeah, what you were saying about changing things. Look, when I had a really heart-to-heart talk with my lawyer.
You talk. I gotta pee.
Okay, a really heart-to-heart talk with my lawyer about this, about the changes made to the precedent. And my lawyer has never seen a case like the non-sequitur showcase before. He definitely thinks that there are things that should be addressed with the legal system, and he actually may write a paper or whatever they do, a journal, or he might actually do something on it. And he actually has agreed to be a guest on the non-sequitur show when all is said and done. But yes, he does think that the non-sequitur showcase will be cited at some point for some reason in regards to how things are done in regards to businesses and YouTube. So yeah, Katie, it's not, Cheshire is not too far off on that at all. And I think the same thing is when it comes to this whole BS, when it comes to Katie and Nat. I think that, yes, things might be changed because, yeah, Todd Chrisley's legal team is in fact talking to YouTube. And YouTube is well aware of Katie's channel and well aware that she has done questionable things. And they have deleted some of her videos and might delete more or her channel altogether. Because there has been so many people of a larger people taking notice that, yeah, this might cause harm to other creators. And come on. It just blows my mind that people are not seeing the pattern there. But okay, we have a super chat. One quick. I'm sorry. Everybody Burps 49.99. Thank you, Everybody Burps, very much so. Everybody Burps has become a Patreon as well, and I cannot thank you enough for that. If you want to support this channel, that's how you do it. Patreon and become a member to the channel, and of course super chats as well, and my GoFundMe, but that's for my lawsuit. But if you want to support this channel, I thank you for that. So she says, I love this. Love more, hate less. Just got back from doc. BCR free for another 6 months. Very happy to hear that. Happy holidays, guys. Thank you both for working so hard. Change some thinking. Soup's ready. Got to go. Appreciate that immensely, and I'm glad that you're well. We like to think that we are influencing to some capacity. Cheshire and I are very proud of the fact that we have had people take what we say and actually use it and listen to it. It's mind-boggling to think that we have, a platform. We have platforms, but what we want to do is we want to use them for the right reasons. We want to use them for good. And that's the distinction that I think is very, very notable between our platforms and the platforms out there like Katie's and UNIRock's, who just seem to want to harm people. Teresa says H3 is on Twitter making an ass out of himself, accusing Keem of being involved in that new suit behind the scenes. Yeah, I don't know anything really about Ethan. You're muted.
He makes an ass of himself almost every time he brings up Keemstar. To be almost every single time I have ever seen.
That is just one bitter feud.
It is, yeah. It's just not. It's just, oof, yeah.
Like I said, I don't really follow Keem, but I got to tell you, I give the guy huge props for what he has accomplished. Huge props. But I just think that, their little spat between each other and stuff like that, just whatever, I never watched anything by H3, so I don't know. I get the vibes of, oh no, something bad is happening or negative is happening to me. It must be the result of these people that I already don't like. How convenient. Mm-hmm. Let me stop sharing real quick. Was there anything else you wanted me to show?
Yeah, I sent you a message on Twitter.
It's on Twitter.
Yeah. I think we should read that out. You can tell me.
The hard part is I'm a hard time showing those. I don't want to show my whole screen because there's other messages that would show. So I'm not sure how I would show that.
Well, just pull up the fucking tweet, man. I sent you a tweet.
Oh, just the tweet?
Yes.
The Rankin one?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to show actually show your messages.
Oh, I just said that if you opened it while you were still showing, I didn't care.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you. It happens. But, oh my God, do we have a misunderstanding and we figured it out?
Adulting.
Adulting is so hard. I don't like it. Stop.
Hate Steve forever now.
All right, give me 1 second here.
You know what? If I was going to hate Steve forever, it'd be while we were off air and we're in a call setting up and he gets up to walk away. He doesn't mute himself and just slaps his microphone around with his ass cheeks for like 2 seconds.
I'm sorry about that. I did do that. It was loud, I'm sure.
You did it 3 times.
Well, because I actually literally have my mic attached to my chair right now.
I know. So he gets up from his chair and it's just like blowing out my goddamn eardrums.
All right, let me see.
The third time he did it today, I just took my headphones off and was like, off, dude.
All right, so this is what you want me to share?
Yeah. You might want to click on it. It's a little bit hard to read. Yeah, okay. So it says, this is from Rankin. It says, thank you all for being so kind last night, referring to the stream that we shared about with her and Erin. Although the extent of my involvement behind the scenes was unknown until recently, I thank you for believing in me and supporting me through this crazy journey. Prior to last night, I'd never considered doing a live stream. I am grateful Erin invited me to share her platform and tell the story. It was important to Erin that the facts and evidence of what transpired over the course of the investigation be presented accurately. She did a fantastic job and handled it with grace. I'll be honest, I was very nervous to put myself out there like that. She never pressured me and made me feel uncomfortable. As for me, I'm grateful this chapter is coming to a close. In my pursuit of the truth, I witnessed things no one should ever have to see. I viewed videos of bestiality, children being murdered, people burned alive, and more horrors. The threats were equally horrendous. Much of this experience will be forever ingrained in my memory. Regardless of how it made me feel, it wasn't about me. It was about leaving no stone unturned to expose the truth so those hurt by the lies could get the justice they rightly deserved and were entitled to accomplish. The truth needed to be told. Lastly, this isn't about an inability to work a microwave or fucking with unicorns. Real lives were impacted by the harassment and threats. Nothing about this is humorous to me. The victims don't deserve to see the trauma they experienced made into a joke. I believe those that falsely accused others of crimes should apologize. That is up to them. I do hope they consider doing the right thing so everyone can turn the page. It is my hope that now, with all exposed, everyone involved can heal and move forward.
Wow, that's pretty poignant. That's pretty poignant. And let me touch on that. She's clearly referring to not just herself, but she's clearly referring to Tina, Erin, myself, and many other people. Dottie. There's been a lot of people that are involved in this. And yes,
well, there were a lot of people who weren't involved into it, got accused and dragged into stuff that had absolutely nothing to do.
Right. That's what I'm saying. When involved with, I mean that falsely accused.
Yes.
And I definitely know that Rankin was working with all this. I've always gone along with Rankin. She's been nothing but straight up with me, and and I have utmost respect for her. Matter of fact, I had a fun little side story. I'd asked Rankin to kind of help me with something a while back, just because I knew she kind of knew about the stuff and she could do it a lot easier than I could. And she got back to me, and what she sent me was the most meticulous things I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh my God.
Steve works with me, and I'm pretty meticulous.
You are, but I will tell you right now, she blew my mind. She blew you out of the water. I mean, just her level of detail.
I don't doubt it.
No, there was nobody that details like her. I was just like, wow, way more than I requested, but I was thankful very much for it. But yeah, she does not mess around. Now, I will tell you, these videos I knew were out there. I have never seen any of these videos. I will never, ever, ever, ever want to ever see these videos. I mean, just, oh my God. I just, the fact that people have to actually see these things in order to, determine the criminality of them.
Do their job. Yeah.
Yeah. Do I think that Katie saw them? Yeah, probably. But the problem is that it doesn't seem like Katie and I have the same type of response to these types of things. Again, this is my personal opinion, but I do think for some strange reason, I just get this impression that Katie seems to get off on these things. I really do think for some reason she internalizes and just seems to enjoy talking about some very graphic stuff. And even though she'll say otherwise, it just seems to me that there is a weird psychotic thing that she just kind of gets off on. And again, that's personally my opinion. I mean, so there's just nothing more to it than that, but I just get that impression for some reason that her what she says and what she actually feels, not quite the same thing.
Well, I mean, it's hard. Sometimes people are hard to read, and sometimes people react to visceral things very, very differently.
And that's fine. And I could be off base on that, but the thing is that I would never sit there and talk about the level of detail she does. That's why I don't listen to
sure.
that stuff.
And yeah, different people have different reactions, and different people have different things that they find acceptable and that they don't. And sometimes there is no right and no wrong, and sometimes there's like a degree of wanting to get the point across.
Yeah,
like this message from Rankin puts a lot into perspective of how horrendous what was being done was,
and who was being accused of these things, which of course well, I'd say accused of involvement with it, right? I mean,
well, there were some accusations that people were involved in the creation of, and that's a big deal. Like that's a big deal, because that would be more than one crime.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys realize the depth of these things? That if these allegations, how they stigmatize people. I mean, even one of her allegations, which was that the judge had put the TRO that she falsely obtained against me under VAWA. That's a stigma. Her intent was to try to stigmatize me. Her intent was to say, "Oh, look, so much evidence that Steve's an abuser, and that he, abused me and my child, and therefore, the judge put it under the Violence Against Women's Act, which we all know is BS." And the courts, I'm sure, will definitely see that, because it's a matter of factual. It's a matter of facts. I mean. We
all currently in the room, and most of the people in the live chat know that was all BS. There's a handful of people that don't believe that was true and will refuse to work with you, or will refuse to have any sort of conversation with you, or people who have worked with you in the past will decide not to do so, which is the crux of the lawsuit.
Yeah, because I've actually had people not want to come on my channel and actually, tweet about me and VWA, which has affected my standing in the community. Thus, leading more, it goes to what's called special damages. Something I don't have to prove as defamation per se, but definitely exacerbates the impact of these types of things, and the fact that I actually can show damages. But yeah, can you guys imagine you guys being accused of these things? Why Tina and myself fought so hard against these things, and why Erin fought so much, and why all of us have said, look, these are egregious allegations. But on the other side, you have people like UNIRock, you have Katie Joy, Super McGoofball, and the rest of them, all putting this information out there, regardless of the facts that it wasn't true. They didn't care.
Comment of, wait, if you knew this, why were you supporting and accusing other people? This comment says everything.
Yep.
Everything right there.
Yep. I mean, I'm sure. Look, UNIRock is creative at how he spins things, and I'm sure if anybody can find a way to spin it, it would be UNIRock. But I just don't know even how he will go about doing that. But it'll be interesting to see. But it's going to be whatever it is BS. Yeah, I'll message you after the stream, Tina. Matter of fact, Tina, I will message you directly after the stream, because I do need to talk to you about something good stuff. But I want to ask your opinion on something. Yeah, but I see. By the way, Chesh, it's not just you I go to for opinions on things.
How dare you?
I know. I'm cheating on her. I'm cheating on Chesh. I have other people to ask advice.
Good. Well. Don't ask me. Stop asking me things. Leave me alone.
Yeah, you guys don't even know the pain that she has. It's the middle of the goddamn night, and I'm like just frantically going, "Hey, Chesh, what?" She's like, "What? I'm sleeping." No, she doesn't ever sleep.
Why are you freaking out about this? ? Who the fuck cares? Go to bed.
the struggle is
no
real.
I'm gonna go get a cookie. No, I'm making pizza right now.
I gotta tell you, man, if we do get non sequitur back, which it looks like that,
called me at God, what time was that, to ask me questions about Adam Kokesh? I was in bed.
Well, because you were you saved me a lot of time because you were involved in that. But yeah, it's like I was going to say, if we get non sequitur back, I think it's going to be bigger and better for the fact that my rapport with Cheshire is just epically better.
I'm funnier than Kyle. That's just a fact. That's just an objective fact. I know comedy is subjective, but I am funnier than Kyle. Fact. In my opinion.
Kyle had some zingers, but of course, the difference between you and Kyle is he's just dishonest as shit.
But I'm just funny.
You're funny. Yeah,
not only are my zingers better, but they are more consistent.
Yeah, I could just be a lot more natural. With Kyle, it's just I recognize that there was fuckery afoot.
On the other hand, I mean, realistically, there's no reason why non sequitur won't even be better, because it's actually going to be two people working together instead of one person being a shit to the other person and then doing a bunch of garbage behind their back with their friends to try and take over a successful channel. That probably won't happen.
But I will tell you that I will call in every favor that I have from every content creator that I've met to help promote non sequitur when we get it back.
Yo, are I calling so many favors?
So I'm just gonna, I don't know. And again, it's not so much to get non sequitur back, hoping that it ever does get big. It is, to me, I think the platform that I want to have the discussions I want to have, that I just think are better on that than that channel. Does that make sense? That you and I are gonna
everything is in place to have that show be better, including just being able to open the door to more topics.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more opinion before we kind of wrap this up. Should I kind of drop a little bit more information about that, Chesh? Or
nah, about what?
The status of the channel. I think I could right now. I think it's fine.
I think you could drop a little bit of a nugget, but only a little bit, only like half of anything.
Okay, I'll do it as a teaser.
Okay.
I will say this. I do not yet have control. And by the way, it's factual because I try to keep as factual as possible. I do not yet have control of non sequitur. That is true, correct?
Correct. As far as I know.
But neither does Kyle.
Womp 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 womp. So,
we'll let people mull that over as I'm sorry, I love teasers. It was Misty Mo that I voted. I had a vote one time and people wanted teasers. The slow burn of like UNIRock. If you guys haven't checked out those videos on my channel for the slow burn of UNIRock, please do. They're just epic. But Misty was like one of the very few people going, "Oh no, I love these kinds of these types of teasers out there."
Reason
people
why
voted like 48% against, and I'm like, I'm gonna call it audible.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyways.
I definitely ask people sometimes, like on my community tab or when I tweet out a poll asking if I should do something. Most of the time I've already made my decision. I'm just curious to know what other people think. I'm probably already decided. But on the other hand, I think that one of the reasons why, or one of the things that you've improved on over the years is not just spilling your guts about everything all of the time, which is nice.
Yeah, well, again, there are still things out there, even with the non sequitur show suit that I have not made public, and there's certainly stuff with the Katie Joy that I have not made public, and so of course there's reason for those things. But I do like the teasers because every time I put out a teaser, every time I put out something like that, it's factual. But I want people to try to kind of figure it out. Deadly Revader says, Steve, I know something you should apologize to your community about exposing up to flirts. Okay, here you go. Ready for this? Sorry, not sorry. There you go. By the way, I want to have more discussion. I do want to have some. People have been asking me. I have a lot of people say, "Steve, will you do an update on the flat Earth stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I will eventually." So, does that stop sharing?
I'm making a tweet right now. Don't mind me.
No. By the way, Paul makes a good point. He says, "Should we go back and resub?" No. Well, I don't know. That's a good question.
I would wait.
Just wait.
We will tell you. We will let you know when.
I will definitely let people know when they should resub, Paul. Okay. There's not. I will say this. There's not going to be any.
I'm pretty sure that one is going to end up being in my hands. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the final say on when people go resub because Steve's going to get really excited. I'm going to be like, "Stop it!"
I might defer that to you.
When that announcement comes out. I'll still let you make the announcement.
Oh, you're suggesting that two people try to work as a team to kind of like
work in tandem.
Yeah, work in tandem. Strange how that. Yeah. All right, so let's wrap this up. It has been 2 hours. I think that's an appropriate amount of time to dedicate to this. If you guys have questions, please leave them in the comment section. If you have anything you want to know, check my DMs. Every time somebody says check my DMs, it goes on for another half hour.
Don't do it.
Doing it.
You know what you should probably do at some point in the future when that's possible to do a stream dedicated a little bit more to information about non-sec because there hasn't been there's been some minor updates, but not like they're big, but they're not a lot of information. So
that's fine. I agree with that. I might take you up on that, Paul. I appreciate that. We'll see. Yeah, that might be actually. Yeah, I'll definitely might take you up on that. Tina says, we do need a poll on Twitter where I should speak. Should we do a fundraiser on your channel and I share my story? I know Tina. There's a couple different channels. Tina was probably come on to talk about her story. Whatever she decides is completely up to her. All Tina has to know is that she's always welcome to come on my channel to talk about anything she wants at any time. Right.
I think I would suggest Steve's channel, and then I would suggest something else that I've already talked to her a little bit about.
Yeah, that's fine. Tina knows I do not speak for her, and Tina and I definitely try to keep, certain things between us, and I respect her for that. Tina doesn't show DMs. Tina doesn't do any of that stuff, and I just have the utmost respect for her because of that. Not saying I don't respect you for not because you show DMs, but you at least let people know, which is perfectly fine. You say, hey, look, I show DMs. If you message me something and you show it, then the onus is not on you any longer. The onus is on them.
You'll notice that there's something pretty consistent about the messages I do end up showing too. It's not arbitrary.
There's reasons for it, for sure.
Can I help you?
All right. So like I said, I'm going to wrap this up. Tina, I'm going to contact you soon. Anything you want to leave us with, Chesh?
Yeah, come to my stream in an hour for charity outreach from Sue Elliott. We're going to be talking about her work with the Love Like Crazy charity, which is a nonprofit foundation that provides assistance to bereaved parents and medically fragile children. 100% of donations go directly to a family in need. We utilize our resources and donations to enhance the quality of life of these children and their families that are impacted by their medical diagnosis. If you're interested in finding out more about that, learning about that, and learning what people in this community actually do in their real life to try and hear Sue's story, please come and give us a listen. Again, it's not a donation drive. There's no pressure to donate. This is just for information and getting people's stories out there. So if you are interested, please swing on by in 1 hour.
And I'm gonna do an outro for a countdown. During that countdown, can I ask everybody who's watching to make sure that they have the notification bell set to full? And has subscribed. I just looked at my analytics the other day to see, what percentage is actually. It actually tells you how many people have the full notifications. Some people, I guess, for some reason, just kind of disappears. I don't know how YouTube does that, but you might want to check again. Make sure you subscribe to Cheshire and I, and then you have full notifications. We appreciate that. So I'm gonna do the outro, and while that's going on, go ahead and subscribe and do that. Thank you guys. See you over in Cheshire's channel in about an hour.